In my head, I was like, man, they hate me and they want me to be replaced and they want a better goalkeeper. And that just added to the pressure that I put upon myself, just creating stories in my head about what other people thought about me.
Step into the Pressure Lab, brought to you by HEADFIRST, the Philadelphia Union Foundation's mental health initiative. Here, we believe mental fitness is as important as physical fitness. You train your body every day. This is where you train your mind. The pressure, the doubt, the setbacks, they're all part of the game. But what you do with it, that's the skill.
Today we're talking about a kind of pressure that is different from almost any other position in the sport. The kind where one moment can change everything, where mistakes feel magnified, where it can all feel like the weight of the game sits squarely on you. When you're a goalkeeper, there's no hiding, there's no rotating out, there's no blending in. You are the last line of defense. And when something goes wrong, it can feel like it's all on you. Goalkeepers carry a unique emotional load. They see the whole field, they organize everyone in front of them. And when something happens, there's nowhere for those feelings to go. Pressure isn't something you eliminate, it's something you learn to manage. And today we're talking honestly about how. Our guests today are Cate Cantu and Jillian Loyden. Cate Cantu is an elite ECNL goalkeeper and an ECNL national champion. She's committed to play at the University of Louisville and has experienced high-level youth soccer pressure, PKs, one-goal games, and moments where single play can shift everything. Jillian Loyden is a former goalkeeper of the United States Women's National Team. She plays professionally for Sky Blue FC, Chicago Red Stars, and now works with goalkeepers on mental fitness and leadership. As we always do when we welcome people into the Fill It All podcast, we tag each other in with sort of where we are honestly feeling and where we are. When we think about our emotions, I think there's the idea of giving ourselves permission to feel exactly the way that we feel. So I'll start off first by tagging myself in. I think it's so cool to have two goalkeepers at every level. So I want to tag either one of you into this conversation. So welcome.
I'll tag myself in. I'm really excited to be in this podcast and be a guest here. I'm only 17 years old and I have a lot to experience. And I think this is a really unique opportunity to provide information for other people and make them feel like they're not alone. So I'm just really excited to be here today.
Likewise, I feel my heart racing a little bit. And anytime there's a mic in front of my face, like it's been 15 years, it's very anxiety producing for me. But I also understand the weight of this conversation and how it really can impact the listener. So I'm excited to share some of my experience, some of my story, and also just hear about you guys as well.
Jillian, if you could tell us a little bit about your work and sort of how you met Cate and sort of leaning into the work that you do every day.
Yeah, I think when I was still playing, I realized that like winning and achievement wasn't really that fulfilling to me, and feeling like this void inside when I was still playing of like, winning a Olympic gold medal was not what I thought it was going to be. Like you had played up this whole thing in your head for so long and you actually do it and you're like, oh wait, that's it. And I realized like when I was still playing that like I really did want to coach. With a lot of help, I started the Keeper Institute mostly because when I was growing up, like South Jersey wasn't really known for soccer. It was all North Jersey. And my mom was a single mom and really couldn't travel that far and didn't have the resources to be able to bring me to the best coaches. And so it really started with the idea of just changing the landscape of goalkeeping within our little area of South Jersey and doing it in a way that was different than anyone had ever done it before, because we holistically wanted to help people. And so we opened up our own indoor facility, which is the only one in the country for just goalkeepers, because we wanted it to be an inclusive community where people could come and they know all the coaches and they feel really comfortable, and it's 4 walls that people feel really safe to grow in, and really safe to explore new things. And they know that they're going to be encouraged no matter what the outcome is, and they're going to be taught and they're going to be built up and their confidence is going to grow. But like in our environment, we force mistakes because we want to break something that's not working for you long term so that you can improve upon it. And in order to do that, you have to like walk in so vulnerable. Like when you walk through our doors, there's a sense of vulnerability that you must come with because you're saying, I need to work on something. I need support with this. And in order to work on something, you're going to have to wrestle with doing it right and maybe doing it wrong sometimes and maybe making the save and maybe getting scored on. And over time, hopefully, getting scored on occurs less and less. But there's this sense of vulnerability of you are seeing me when I am, weak because I am working on something that's not yet a strength. And I can remember in my own experience, like with the national team, I didn't use training as a mechanism to improve. I use it as a mechanism to prove my worth. And because I was always trying to prove myself, I never worked on things that I needed to work on. I just hid them all the time. I'm like, oh gosh, I do not want them to see what's happening with my left foot, so I'm never going to use it in training. Instead of thinking, this is a real great opportunity for me to learn and grow and work on myself. I just used it to hide because I was, very self-conscious of my weaknesses. Part of it for me is like, I'm a gay woman and I didn't come out until I was in college, but it wasn't until college because I started to feel more confident in who I was as a soccer player that was like, oh, wow, well, this is just a little part of who I am. And that confidence, I hope to help other people grow in themselves because one day they're going to be more than just a soccer player. They're going to have to be in a boardroom, maybe giving a presentation or asking for a raise or, having hard conversations about their identity. And I want to help them instill that confidence in themselves.
And how's the Institute impacted you?
It's impacted me tremendously as a person on the field and off the field. I think when I first started going to the Keeper Institute in 7th grade, on the field, I was a mess mentally, just a perfectionist and couldn't deal with failure. And now, it was this like 4 or 5 years later, I'm a whole different person now. And I lean into those failures and explore things that I'm uncomfortable with. I'm leaning into that phrase of being comfortable with the uncomfortable.
What makes the goalkeeper different?
I feel like right off the bat, you can use your hands with the ball if you're just thinking, literally. But I feel like sometimes you can feel a little bit kind of out from the group because you're the last one back. Maybe if a goal has just been scored, you can't really celebrate with the team because you're all the way back. But I think it's also nice to be a little different from the team and have that uniqueness. You get to have this role of being a leader and directing your team, kind of like a captain. That's something special.
Yeah.
I think when I started playing soccer, I didn't really understand the game at all or the position. And in my second game ever, I became a goalkeeper because the person that they had chosen to be the goalkeeper didn't never use her hands. So they were like, oh, you're the biggest, most athletic kid on the team. So get in there and see what can happen. And we literally lost every game 6-0 that year. But I got shelled and I loved it. And making saves just felt so right. It felt like this is what I was meant to do. And I didn't really understand that pressure until I got to recruiting events when I was older, because it felt like that was really meaningful. Myself specifically, that was my way to go to college and to get an education and to make a life for myself. So there was an extra amount of pressure on me. And I really started to, I didn't accept that pressure well. And I played with a lot of pressure internally that I put on myself. Then once I got to college, I had the tools from a coach who invested in me for the first time. And even still then in college, I didn't really understand that pressure because I played on a team where even if I made a mistake, I'd have 7 or 8, 10 more opportunities to make up for it. Yeah. And then when I became a pro was when I really started to feel that pressure. This is your job now. And if you get cut, what are you going to do? And for me, to your point, Cate, like you're on a team and you're by yourself back there, but you also kind of by yourself with your other goalkeeper too, because you guys are both competing for the same position and you both want to be the one that's chosen in the first 11. And so you have some person who understands what you're going through, but you can't really share what you're going through with them because that's your competition, even though that's your teammate, right? Mm-hmm. So I think we're even in a more unique position because not many people understand what we're doing. Even our head coaches will say, I don't really know. I'm not a goalkeeper person. I don't know anything about goalkeeping. And that makes us feel even more ostracized. And then the person that understands what you're going through, you can't really talk to. So it's really difficult position for us to be in, and somehow we still choose it.
Why did you choose that?
I chose it because I just love the feeling of making a great save. Like that ping of adrenaline that I get and just like surge of dopamine, I crave it. And I guess funny as it sounds, like I just like diving. Like I think it's so fun.
Yeah, I don't think I chose it. I think it chose me. Actually, my coach chose me. Yeah. But yeah, I think being a contributor to the team's results and being a really big piece to the puzzle to allowing our team to flourish was something that I really took pride in. And, being a leader and helping other people and being that stable presence in the back was something that I really enjoyed.
Yeah. So obviously being 17, young, have so much of your career ahead of you, and obviously having played pro, and we talked about being ostracized and feeling almost isolated. You know, I assure you that there's a goalie out there, or even someone that maybe doesn't feel like they're a part of something. When was the loneliest, or maybe the loneliest time that you ever felt on the pitch?
I mean, most of my professional career, like my rookie season, I got drafted and Hope Solo was the goalkeeper. Like Hope Solo is the best goalkeeper that's ever played the position, easily on the women's side. And I had no hope of ever playing. Like I was just there to enjoy myself, to make sure everybody had what they needed, to develop and get better so that when it was my turn, I would have opportunities, to perform my best. And that season I played a few games while she was away and I did well. And then it was like, okay, I got traded to be a starter somewhere else. And then it was like, wow, okay, we're not playing around anymore. Like you have to perform. And I was on a team of all-stars and we did not perform well. And I did not perform well. I was just scared every minute I was on the field, every single second. And like, I did not handle that well. And it's the one, I don't regret anything because it made me who I am today. But if I could go back, it's the one thing I would put more attention to now.
Yeah, I have like something similar with joining a team with all-stars. So this past summer, I went to a second team camp with a professional team. And that was my first experience ever being in a group with girls who were playing on the national team, had other professional opportunities. And I was one of three goalkeepers there. And the two other goalkeepers, one was a regular on the youth national team, and the other one had already been called into the second team camp before. So I was brand new, had no experience with this higher level, and it was difficult at first adjusting to this new environment. And I felt lonely because I was almost like comparing myself to the other goalkeepers. And I was learning at the same time and how I can deal with this mentally. And I wasn't playing at all. And that was tough because I know I work really hard, and not seeing the field and like it built character, I feel like. And I think it was necessary for that to happen. And I'm grateful it did.
I see a lot of youth goalies and have teammates ever been frustrated by you based off of sort of your performance as a goalie? And what do you tell yourself in those moments?
I think we create narratives in our head about what people think about us sometimes. So I can't be sure because no one ever outwardly said things. But in my head, I was like, man, they hate me. And they want me to be replaced and they want a better goalkeeper. And that just added to the pressure that I put upon myself, just creating stories in my head about what other people thought about me. But really, that was just like what I thought about me at points. But now I work in TV now, and so it's really uncomfortable for me before I go on TV every single time. And I have developed some different mantras and developed some different techniques to be able to regulate my anxiety and my emotions, and also just having a clearer idea of you are not perfect. You are going to make mistakes. And here's your recovery fail system that you're going to use when you do make those mistakes. And something that I always consistently remind myself of, because I am part of a team still, that you're not showing up the best for your teammates when you're so busy worried about the past of mistakes that you made or the future of what people are going to think about you. You're not showing up as your best. And that's something that always gets me back right into the present moment of like, I'm just going to show up for my best right this second.
The importance of compartmentalization, I think, helps a lot in this run of play. I mean, I've made a lot of mistakes in my career so far that's led to goals, and sometimes I may hear my teammates muttering to themselves, or maybe that's just me making it up. But yeah, it's tough, but you have to, I think what helps me regulate those emotions is that this mistake doesn't define who I am as a goalkeeper, and everyone makes mistakes. No one's perfect. And I want to circle back to that compartmentalization. For me, what works best is realizing, okay, this moment happened and it's put in the past. We can dwell on it after the game, because I'm a person who likes to dwell on things. So I'm like, okay, this is what's best for our team right now. It's for me to stay present and to give my best for the team and for myself. So if I can focus on what's in front of me right now and be the best that I can be, that's all that matters. And then I can dwell on whatever mistake I made after the game when I have time to myself.
I think sometimes the nature of the position, it drives us to be perfectionists because we don't want to concede goals.
Yeah.
Because when we concede goals, it's so obvious. And everybody knows, even if they're not goalkeeper people, they'll be like, oh, well, Jill made a mistake. And that insecurity sometimes for myself, speaking for myself, and that fear of other people's opinions and the comparison game of, oh, Jill conceded 2 goals and this person conceded none, it can drive the anxiety even more that we feel because we're not perfect. And anytime we make a mistake, it's like, oh my gosh, worst case scenario, the whole world is falling in on itself and I'm going to get cut. They're going to let me go. I'm not going to have a job. And we just go all the way down to worst case scenario. But actually, I think like sometimes being a perfectionist is just our way of feeling worth and value, but it's so separate from our performance, or we can choose that. And I don't think sometimes we do that enough.
This podcast is powered by HEADFIRST, a program of the Philadelphia Union Foundation, has built a free toolkit at myheadfirst.org with worksheets, guides, videos, and resources designed for athletes, parents, and coaches navigating the mental side of the sport. And if you want something tangible, something your athlete can carry with them to every practice and every game, request a HEADFIRST bag tag. It's a free luggage-style tag that attaches to any soccer bag and links directly to myheadfirst.org through a QR code. It's a symbol, a reminder, and a connector, all in one. Request yours at myheadfirst.org. Coaches and clubs, reach out to us directly, and we'll send a full package for your entire team.
What is the balance between holding yourself accountable and being too hard on yourself?
I think for me, it's all about my preparation. Like, I feel like if I have done my best to prepare for the moment and I've done my routine the day of, I've done every single thing that I know will help me get my adrenaline out, will help me be grounded, will help me be able to breathe a little bit better. And then when I'm in the moment, I just try to get into a flow state as much as possible because I don't want to be thinking. I just want to be like, for example, I played, I enjoyed it, I loved it, I got to the professional level, I struggled with the mental side, and my career was done. And then I got a second chance at it with broadcast and TV and being able to tell people stories and call games and educate fans and entertain people when it comes to football. And this is my second go at all the mental stuff that I didn't get to accomplish with my playing career is now put on stage in my TV career. And when I'm calling a game, I just want to be having a conversation with my partner. And if I stutter over someone's name, I stutter over someone's name, and I'll come back to it. But I can recover from anything. I'm resilient. And these are like the things I'll tell myself in the moment of like, I'm coming back to this. And if I did all these things, no matter what happens at the end of the game, I can be okay with the outcome.
Yeah, I'd say I feel like it's important to hold ourselves accountable, to grow, and to look at our mistakes and think, what can we do better next time? But at the same time, we need to give ourselves grace that we aren't perfect people. And I think if we shift our thinking on reflecting on what we did well in that game rather than what we did bad in that game, it will help us mentally.
I think if we spent less time judging ourselves and more opportunities to be curious about what happened to use as information, it would be a lot more helpful in our lives.
Yeah.
Overall.
So what's that look like?
I think it's just checking in with yourself, right? There are games where I feel so prepared. I could call without my notes. I know every single thing. I've prepared all week. I feel really good. I've had these teams before. I'm feeling really good. And there are other games where I'm like, I didn't really watch as much film as I wish I could have this week. And for whatever reason it is, right? But I think that we can reflect back after the game to be like, oh, I didn't feel comfortable because X, Y, and Z. Or there was a new player that I had never seen before. I need to make sure I write that down so I can go watch film on her so I feel more prepared. But it's not just like, oh, well, you're terrible because you didn't know that player. It's like, okay, I need to check in with myself. Like, how am I feeling? When am I feeling that? What's happening? And then I can use that as information to prepare for my next game. And that's like a constant evolution always because we're the type of people that are always trying to learn and grow and develop, and that we're not finished products. And we'll always be trying to adapt something. And the more curious we are about why something happened, maybe the better that we have opportunity in the future to be able to circumvent, a mistake.
Yeah, totally.
So one of the things, whether or not be a goalie, field player, or just even somebody who's in this sort of the elite athletic space, have you or do you ever struggle with the identity of being a goalie versus just who you are?
I definitely do. I'm still struggling with it today, and it's a work in progress, but there's days where it's like, if I'm doing well in soccer, then I'm happy and everything in life is great. And if soccer's going down, then my life is going down. And I have to I need to create this separation between my soccer life and who I am as a person. And I think for the past year, I've been really trying to focus on that. And I would like to say that when I'm not Cate the goalie, I'm someone who likes to be with the people who I care about. And I like to have a good time, and having interests, like thinking about other interests in my life that make me happy is important. Like reading, writing, just really drawing that separation between soccer and your actual life, because at some point soccer is going to end. And it's kind of like a what now, you know what I mean? After it's over. And I'm just trying to prepare myself for that.
I think I struggled with this when I played. Because I didn't have life experience. I think most of my childhood, I grew up only feeling loved when I performed well, and only feeling like people cared about me when I performed well. And that was, a way that I coped as an adult with the same like lack of, feeling valuable in the world and feeling loved, is that when I performed well, I was loved. And so obviously that doesn't help me now. And so, through a lot of life experience and a lot of therapy, I've really tried in the last 10 years to really separate those things. And it's really easy for me when I look at my kids in the face every day and my wife, and they literally don't even know what I've done soccer-wise. Like, they have no idea. And they see me, hear me on TV, and they have no idea if I'm good or not. They don't even care. They just love me because I'm their mom, and I spend time with them, and I adore them. And it's about who I am as a person. That's who they love so much. And like our like family identity is that we're kind to others and ourselves. We're resilient and we're brave. And those are the three characteristics that I try to live by every day.
So one of the biggest moments as a goalie are penalty kicks. If you can sort of envision maybe a moment where you were about to receive a penalty kick and sort of what went through your mind, what did your body do, like all the things.
Okay, so it was summer 2023. My club team and I were playing in the ECNL playoffs, and it was the Sweet 16, and we had to play in a shootout. And I was in goal, and we were playing against the reigning ECNL champions from the year before. So obviously I was really anxious, nervous, excited, everything in one, knowing that these girls were very talented. And this was a moment where I needed to step up for my team. And at that moment, I just felt like I just want to have fun and enjoy this experience, because this is something you don't experience every single day. And I realized the shooter is quote unquote supposed to be scoring the PK. Like, no one really expects the goalkeeper to be saving it. So without that pressure that I left off myself, I just felt free and fun. And I guessed which side to go to. And I did save one. And it was just such a liberating and adrenaline rush feeling lighter, knowing that I'm doing the best that I can, and that is more than enough.
I don't remember anybody scoring penalties on me, honestly. I don't know. The ones that you save just stick out in your head. And it's probably the most free you could really feel, because you're not supposed to save it anyway. So like anything that you save is just a bonus.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I probably as a professional, it wasn't a penalty shootout, but I saved Tiff Milbritt's penalty. And like, I remember watching her as a kid win the World Cup in '99. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just saved her penalty. Like literally nothing else I couldn't do with my life at that point. And that's it, made it. But yeah, I think there's less pressure on us in penalties.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're allowed to show disappointment as a goalie in the middle of the game?
I feel like I've heard from some coaches that it's never really good to show emotion because you're being the leader. But I don't think that's true. I think it's okay sometimes to show a bit of emotion, but making sure you're staying present and you're still going with the game and pushing and like lifting your teammates up and being that leader, not dwelling on it and crashing out in the goal because you made a mistake. But I don't think we need to be robots on the field and totally be stoic about it.
Yeah. I think if you try to ignore it, it just keeps coming back for the remainder of the game. Yeah. If you're just like, oh, that didn't happen, or I got to move on next play or whatever, and we're just trying to convince ourselves that we didn't make that mistake and I got to stay present. It also like steals an opportunity for our teammates to show up for us. You know, like when you are a leader and you have these great established relationships, you show up for them when they need you. And when you make a mistake and your head goes down, it's an opportunity for them to pick you up. But for us, like at least, you know, at TKI, we try to train in a way that it gives you an opportunity to deal with the mistake currently. And so that skill transfers to a game, not just the skill of making a dive and making a save, but the skill of accepting a mistake, and whatever that space is between the next play, you are able to regulate that emotion and stay present as possible and show up for your team with whatever the remainder of the time is, I think. And I do think it's okay to show your emotions. Like it's authentic, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Athletes have almost like another personality, like they turn it on. You know, like Serena Williams, a lot of times she will beat her opponent just through this expression of emotion, where all of a sudden the opponent just doesn't know what to do with it. Or like, I wonder, do you have like a routine or something that you like where you're able to turn it on when you need to and then when it's off, you sort of turn it off. I think about myself, and I'm like, did I ever do that? And I'm like, yeah, you did, Keith. Like, you would put eye black on, and you would turn into something. Athletes like Brian Dawkins he actually had 2 separate lockers where he was Brian Dawkins and then he was Weapon X. And I wonder, like, do you believe in that? Do you think it's something that can be done or something that you do?
Oh yeah, 100%. I could delve into it. So it starts the night before. So I journal, I meditate, I visualize all the night before. And then the next morning when I'm preparing for my game, I play classical music in the background, just because I think it calms my nerves a lot. So as I'm putting on my uniform, that's the last thing I do, because I give myself a bit of a pep talk before, and that's kind of me like turning it on and morph into this like other Cate of like soccer Cate, like soccer mode is on, not to be corny or anything. And I think now, since I've been doing it so much, it's just like muscle memory at this point. Like when I hear like classical music, like immediately I get very like calm or dialed into what I'm doing. By doing all of these steps, I'm gaining back that control. And if I can focus on those controllables, then I'll perform well in the game.
Yeah, I love that.
I don't think I become a different character like you were referencing Brian Dawkins. I think I'm my best when I'm myself, but I do think there's a game face. Like, you put your game face on. Like, okay, this is meaningful. This matters to me, and this is how I want to show up in this moment. And it is me. It's me, but it's a game face, because when I'm trying to be someone else or when I have this different persona, it doesn't feel natural to me, and that makes me feel less in control. So I just try to be myself, but I just put my game face on. Even for TV, same way. Yeah.
Good performance, bad performance. What should the car ride home look like? From your experience, like, what has been the car ride that's been most fulfilling, regardless of how you perform? Even things that you have observed as a coach, what you would sort of hope for that child and for that parent going home before sort of pulling into that driveway.
I definitely think that the car ride should be supportive, whether the game was bad or good. These kids are still...
These kids.
Us. We are. Me, myself included. We're still learning. We're so young. We're still learning. We're still growing. We're not perfect. We shouldn't be chastised for that. I think everyone should be given grace for trying their best. And in my experience, my parents have been very supportive to me. And I think, and I give them credit for that, because I don't think I'd be where I am without them. I think I hold a high head on my shoulders because of my parents and the support they give me. I think without that, I don't know if I would have as much belief in myself as I do now.
I coach a lot of players like these kids, and and adults as well, professionally. And after a tough game, my first comment is, I love you. Affirm, hey, you're not alone. I love you so much, and my love is not dependent on your performance. And my second question is, what do you need? Because everyone is different. And also at the same time, I want them to put it back on themselves, of like, to check in with themselves of like, what actually do I need right now? Because your answer is going to be different than your answer. And also you want those, in those moments, for them to not be reflecting on, I feel alone, I feel terrible. It's actually, what does my heart need right now? What does my body need right now? Whether that's time alone, whether that's quiet, whether that's a hug, whatever it is, I hope to be able to provide them that need in that moment.
When we play, when we live life in any sort of way, there's always sort of this voice in the back of my mind that is constantly talking. There's a loud one, there's a quiet one. Who's the loudest in your mind? So a lot of times when athletes come off the field, the first thing they look at is affirmation from the coach. Like, that is the voice that is like the loudest one, because they want their coach to feel proud of them. Maybe it's a parent, because they are the parent is sacrificing a lot for them to be where they need to be. Maybe it's someone who they draw inspiration from. They're like, well, if I play well, and so I'm curious, who's the loudest voice, as obviously as a former player, as an active player, even as someone who's just living life, or even just someone that's competing at the highest level, but also just wanting to be 17?
I'd say the loudest voice in my head is myself, honestly. I think sometimes I'm my worst critic and my biggest cheerleader. And that's something that I'm still grappling with and altering my thinking and being more kind to myself. I think I am a perfectionist, and I'm trying to not be so hard on myself all the time. But there's times if I make a mistake, I'm the first one to say something about it by myself, not a coach, not a teammate, no one else. It's myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think so long I just spent so much of my career hurting myself, like with my own words and my feelings about myself, and just waiting for other people to affirm me. And I realized, like, the same amount that I let someone in to say these wonderful, kind things that make me feel really good is the same amount I have when they say negative things. And I was just so driven by what other people said that I stopped listening to what I was thinking about myself as well, and making sure that I want to be kind to myself. Like, I just spent so much time being so mean to myself. And I look at, people like Cate, and I'm like, what if I spoke to her the way I speak to myself, if she would hate me?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that sounds, like an overreaction, but I do think there were times where I did hate myself.
Yeah. So I wanted to jump into a little bit of like rapid fire, like sort of just throw some things out there and see what comes up.
Oh boy.
It can come off however you want. Just one physical reset tool every keeper can use.
This is something I do before every time I go on air. My heart rate spikes. I put my hand on my chest. I take really deep breaths. And I say a mantra in my head, and I go on TV.
That's amazing.
That's helpful for me.
One phrase that you can say after conceding a match.
You go, I don't play matches anymore. Thank God.
Or a
good
phrase.
game. Good game.
Yeah.
Good game, because if we conceded, then at least we went down like trying and giving our best, 110%. And it's like, okay, you were the better team.
Is goalkeeper the most important position?
Duh.
Yes, of course. No doubt.
Yeah, easy. On to the next.
One mental habit that young athletes should practice every game.
The first thing that comes to mind is staying present.
Yeah.
And leaning into the mistakes and the failures, and giving yourself grace. So I would say staying present in that regard.
I think the worst time to plan for an emergency is when you're in the emergency, right? Like, so, thank God we don't live in like a natural disaster area, but like the worst time to actually plan for hurricanes when the hurricane's happening. I was listening to this podcast about Michael Phelps, and he plans for everything that could go wrong during one of his races. And for one of his races, his goggles like came off, and he swam the whole thing blind.
Oh, wow.
And at the end of it, he won a world record. Blind. But he had done it so many times in his head because he had planned for that to happen so many times that he knew exactly what to do. And so I think sometimes we have to plan for what happens if I make a mistake, not if I make a mistake, when I make a mistake, and not plan for it when that mistake has just happened, but actually plan for something. I didn't get to do my routine. I didn't get to journal. We were late to warm up. I didn't get to do my warm up I always do, or I misplayed my first pass. Like, plan for all of those things in our head beforehand, so that when the moment happens, we know how to respond.
With every episode, we do an official tag out. It's sort of a way to lean into what we've talked about. The one thing that I have taken away as sort of my tag out is, while this is work that I do pretty consistently, it's not that often that when I check into my emotion that I always know how to navigate the emotion that I'm having. So whether or not to keep it or put it away, and then be able to continue to move forward. So as I am tagging out to both of you, I'm curious about any closing reflections that you may have.
Well, I just want to say that I learned a lot from this conversation from the both of you guys. I'm still learning about the mental side of the game. And so I just wanted to tag myself out saying that being a goalkeeper is hard. And if we can figure out tools to help us combat those hard times, then the sky's the limit for what we can reach.
I think I'm just feeling really grateful for you to have us on, and trust us with our experiences to be able to share with your audience. And I feel really grateful to be your coach and be able to work with such an incredible young person that far extends anything outside of the lines of football. I feel really grateful for this conversation because I feel like I'm going to leave this place better.
Yeah, it's cool to feel a little unsettled coming in. It's not something that is on purpose. I think it's just the nature of what happens in real conversation. And so for anyone that is listening, pass this on. And I think anyone that is able to really engage in these type of conversations will walk away feeling a sense of gratitude and also a real sense of fulfillment. So thank you both.
Thank you.
Everything we talked about today is educational, not professional mental health advice. If you or someone you know needs real support right now, call or text 988. That's the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, free and available 24/7.